this. No. Yeah, no, I want to thank my guest today, uh, film director, screenwriter, photographer, novelist, Josh Stolberg, man. How you
Human
doing?
being, human being. That's my best title.
I don't know, with how much work you're putting in, you gotta. Do you sleep at all? Like really?
Um, with the help of a little old fashioned
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and Advil PM. Yes, I am sleeping
Oh
fine. Thank you.
man, you got the good stuff, man. No, yeah. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy to be here. I know this has been a long time coming, and we had planned on doing this months ago, but I'm glad we're finally together.
Yeah, no, me too. I appreciate you keeping me the back of your mind there, and yeah, no, I'm, I'm just a dude, I'm just a human too, so I appreciate the humanity.
That's what we all are, and I live by the credo that I was just talking to a buddy of mine today about this. That I've been working in the film business for 30 years now, and have directed a few films, but I'm never one of those people that wants I'll never take the a film by credit. Um, because it really is about it. You can't make a movie by yourself. It really makes me annoyed when I see directors taking that a film by credit, because
Hmm.
it just feels like it's a community, man. It's like it is making films. Um, they would all suck if it was just one person. It's about everybody. So yeah, no, I'm happy to be here. Thank you, man.
No, yeah, I figured there are no small roles in even backstage. Just even looking, I think I rewatched Avengers Endgame for some reason, and all the people involved in that movie, like, oh my gosh, something would have been messed up if one of them hadn't showed up or something,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah. Um, what are you like? What's your niche as far as film goes? What's your favorite? And you don't have to say horror, because I wouldn't. You know what? I wouldn't say horror, man. I would not
Mhm.
say horror. So what is your niche? Kind of movie experience.
As far as me, I'll go like, when you find like a director and you kind of follow what they do, or even just a specific writer.
Hmm.
I know I've like talked to this Israeli writer Edgar Correa,
Hmm.
and he's directed some very odd foreign films. I wouldn't say odd; they're, you said, niche, or
They're unique. They're unique in a great way. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
mhm. So I feel like it's more of I'll follow a writer or a certain, uh, actor, and just kind of watch everything that they're in.
Yeah.
Because that's the great thing about it is, I couldn't even imagine like watching or looking at your filmography. You started out, with some film TV shows that were like kid shows that I grew up with, like So Weird was
Yeah.
great.
Oh, did you know So Weird? Was that like
Yeah,
a show that you were aware of?
yeah, it was In the Darkness is Light and
Yes!
for my life.
Excellent. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. It's funny because, I get emails from friends from high school all the time, and they're like, I've got a kid and I want to get them into horror a little bit. Like, what's the way in?
Mhm.
And in a lot of ways, So Weird was my way into horror at the beginning of my career, because even though it was a kids show, it definitely had elements of the genre in there.
Mhm.
And even like my very first job professionally writing, the first time I ever made money working as a writer was for a kids TV show called Honey I Shrunk the Kids, the TV show. I mean, Honey I Shrunk the Kids, because everybody is Honey I Shrunk the Kids, but
Uh-huh.
we had a TV show of Honey I Shrunk the Kids,
I recall it
and
as well.
my very first episode of Honey I Shrunk the Kids was called Honey I'm Haunted. and it was a ghost story. It was a ghost story for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Uh-huh.
And I sometimes look back at that and I think, oh my God, this was where I was destined to live forever, from the very, very start. So yeah.
No, I loved like So Weird. I don't know if this is how they refer to it or if I referred to it, but it's like a X-Files for kids.
What?
Like,
Yeah, that's how it was pitched to me when I
yeah,
first joined. There was a guy named John, and I'm gonna forget his last name, of course. Wait, I need to hold 1 second.
no
Just
worries.
because it seems bad of me not to know John, remember John's last name. Um, John, wait, let me type in So Weird. I have a very weird John Cooksey. John
Mhm,
Cooksey. I have on my Mac. I keep very, very specific records of everybody I've ever worked for, like, and like if every time I go to a meeting, I make sure I take down everybody's names, and if they say, "Oh, my kid goes to Oberlin and they love soccer," I try to remember that to put into my computer later, just so I'm able to have conversations with people later and just feel like, oh, okay, I've listened. I've taken you in. Anyway, so John Cooksey was the producer on So Weird, and that was the pitch to me when I first joined that show.
mhm.
It's X Files for kids. Exactly, exactly. And it was fun. It was a fun show.
Yeah, and you're right. It was very like a hold your hand into horror type way. So,
Yeah.
you don't just show your kids Freddy Krueger and scar them for life.
Definitely not. Although I will say that one of the reasons why I'm into horror is because I saw Halloween way, 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 way too young. I still have this like firm memory. Um, I was getting baby. All the parents went out to a party, and Halloween was on HBO. And at the time, way, way before you were born, dude. Um, uh,
87 for me.
yeah, way, 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 way before you were born. HBO used to, in the olden days when I was a kid, they would only show R-rated movies after 10 p.m.
Mhm.
So if you wanted to watch an R-rated movie, you had to start it at 8 p.m. and they usually went off the air at 2 a.m. So from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. was like all the good movies came on during that time. And I remember specifically this vision. I have this memory in my head that's so strongly burnt in of the girl babysitting for us with her boyfriend on the couch watching Halloween on HBO at nighttime. They had already put me to bed, and I snuck out and was like looking over the couch and watching this film and getting blown away by it. And that's the reason why, I mean, I still, years and years and years and years and years later, um, I got to work on a draft of a Halloween script,
Oh
and
yeah.
it was like full circle. It was like, oh my God, this was the movie that got me into horror from when I was a little child. And then I'm writing kill scenes for Michael Myers, which was, it was fucking a blast. It was so cool. So cool. Amazing. Yeah.
When age you say, young watching horror movies, at what age do you think you really thought, "Hey, I can make this is what I wanna do in life, is like write
Well,
for film," you
look,
know?
I mean, look, I love to be able to tell you that it was from the beginning, but it wasn't.
Mhm.
I was a total theater geek in high school, like a total theater nerd. I was doing everything from, I was the Artful Dodger in Oliver, and painting sets for Bye Bye Birdie, and like all of these things, so that when I went to college thinking, I went to University of Vermont in Burlington, Vermont. And when I went to college, I thought I was going to be an actor. Like that's what I thought I was going to be. And while I was at school, I had an opportunity to direct a few different projects. So I directed I directed West Side Story at UVM. I directed directed 3 or 4 projects there while I was going to school, and
Mhm.
it really opened me up to the idea of being on the other side of the camera. And then I moved out to Los Angeles right after college, and I got an acting job. It was my first like big acting job. It was for a foreign movie.
Mhm.
And one day, look it up. It's so bad. It's so bad. It was a foreign movie that was Korean. And it was I played the asshole boyfriend of the lead woman in the film who was Korean. She was like the
Mhm.
Julia Roberts of Korea. Her name was Kang Soo-yeon, and
Ooh.
she was incredible. She was an incredible actress, and I was horrible. Like so I came out to LA thinking I was gonna be an actor. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be an actor, and oh, within the first year, I've gotten a huge leading role playing the boyfriend of the star of the movie, and it's gonna be amazing. And then I saw the film and was petrified. I was like, this is the worst acting I have ever seen in a film before. I was horrible, man. I was horrible, horrible. And I realized then and there that acting was not for me. So I had to figure out what was going to be next. And I had such a good time directing things in college that I started to lean toward that, and then um, realized that it was difficult to be a director. There's only one per film. You know, actors, there's 20 to 60 per film.
Mhm.
Directors, there's only one. And you need to convince a producer to give you millions and millions and millions of dollars to put it together. So that's how I fell into screenwriting. And that's how I became like a professional screenwriter. Was I realized, well, the only way to direct is to write the material. And I started writing material, and then it got to the point where um, I was making more money writing than I would have made if they had given me the rights to direct the material. So then I
Mhm.
just kind of fell into writing. And I
Okay.
still direct things here and there, but like if you look at my directing resume, they're all very small, tiny films. The biggest budget film I've directed is like a $3 million movie, um, which by industry standards is tiny.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
That's independent now.
yeah, I mean, most movies that you see in a theater are between 40 and $200 million. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, so that's how I became a screenwriter.
That's cool, and I'd say, I'm looking at your, filmography, what you've written, it spans a lot of, different genres, like we said, So Weird, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, you even had part in, the Avatar, The Last Airbender,
Yeah,
getting that started up?
I was one of the writers on the first 2 episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender. So, um, that was a blast. I mean, that was a blast. And the crazy thing is I wrote it. That script was written, those first 2 scripts were written with Pete Goldfinger, who is my horror writer. So Avatar: The Last Airbender I worked on with the same guy that I wrote Piranha 3D with. So there you go.
And I've seen you have a Good Luck Chuck here, which, uh
Ooh, the best movie of all time. All you got to do is look at Rotten Tomatoes to see how amazing that movie is. There has never been a better movie. I feel like it's Gone with the Wind, Godfather Part Two,
Casablanca.
Casablanca, Godfather, and then Good Luck Chuck. We're in the top
Yeah.
5, I think,
Yeah,
on
Citizen
Rotten
Kane
Tomatoes.
somewhere there too.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
I remember being so hyped for Good Luck Chuck because I love Jessica Alba. I remember seeing her as a kid in Secret World of Alex Mack,
Yes.
and yeah, love her. And I took my cousin. We saw that movie, and it was so raunchy and dirty. I felt so
Oh my God.
awkward with her, like where I'm like, okay, this isn't a movie I shouldn't have brought this because
Well, dude, I can't tell you how many people have written to me saying, "Yeah, I saw that movie with my grandmother," and I'm like, "Oh no, that's freaking horrific." Um, look, I Jessica's amazing.
Hmm.
I love her. She was wonderful and sweet and kind and lovely. Um, the movie itself is an acquired taste. Some people love it. You know, it's one of the crazy things as a writer, as a screenwriter. One of our sources of income, which was part of the whole writer's strike this last year, is residuals. So when a movie gets produced, you get paid for that movie, and then when the movie goes to streaming and or DVDs or shows up on a plane, or you know, cable TV or whatever, you get a little, you know, like for every DVD of Good Luck Chuck that is sold, I probably make a penny. For every you know, $22 DVD that's sold, I make a
Hmm.
penny. um but I've made more money on Good Luck Chuck. Wait, I'm trying to think if this is true. Yes, this is true. I've made more money on Good Luck Chuck than all three Saw movies combined.
Oh Lord. Well, that
Just
is
because
something
of
to be proud
residuals.
of.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is something to
Great.
be proud of, man.
I don't understand. I don't get it. But that's you know, a lot of people like silly, gross out, disgusting comedies. So there you go.
I was speaking about all the different genres, and not to like shit on you on Good Luck Chuck. I'm just saying all the
Shit,
genres.
dude, believe me, shit on me all you want with Good Luck Chuck. Please do. I shit on myself with that, so it's all good.
Of all the genres, you know, you span like horror, comedy, even a
Kids.
mixture of the two.
Yeah.
Is there a favorite you prefer writing for, or do you? It
Yes.
just,
And
you know, it hits you.
yeah, you know, it's funny. And I've never, I mean, like the movie, when I got into the business, I am the big, and this is going to be slightly surprising, but Cameron Crowe is one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. When I look at like Almost Famous and Say Anything, Jerry Maguire, like these movies, Fast Times at Ridgemont High,
Mhm,
which he wrote, didn't direct, but wrote. Um, these movies were everything to me as, you know, as an aspiring filmmaker. Um, and that's how I always portray, like that's how I thought, like I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm gonna be Cameron. That's my goal. I'm gonna be Cameron Crowe. I'm gonna be Cameron. Like that was all I wanted to be.
mhm,
Um, and the problem is that you write the Cameron Crowe scripts, and there are scripts that I've written that I feel like are my best scripts that I've ever written, and no one will ever see them because they just didn't get made. They didn't, like now you can't make Almost Famous anymore. Like it's just like you can't.
mhm,
No one's going to go see that movie, or they're not. No, that's not true. People will go see the movie because it's a great film. No one is going to finance that film now, unless you're Cameron Crowe, unless you're a huge freaking director that has a big name and has access to the best talent. Just, I mean, like, I could write Jerry Maguire right now. I could write like word for word Jerry Maguire, um, and it wouldn't get made today. It just wouldn't get made. I don't know.
mhm. No, it's all about. It's almost this labor of love where it's like passion projects. I always think of like, you know, the author Roald Dahl, Charlie and Chocolate
Yeah,
Factory, all that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember he wrote a story about how you could listen to insects and how insects might be making the greatest symphonies known to man. You'll
yeah.
never know because you don't listen to them. And I feel like that's how it is
I
in
I
art,
love
you know.
that. I absolutely love that. Then
Yeah.
that's the film business. That really is the
Hmm.
film business. You know, I'm married to an actress, and she's an amazing actress. Um, but she just doesn't. She hasn't had an opportunity to get the parts that she needs, and in order to like be known as an like, um, uh, this business is brutal. It's just brutal.
It's right
Like,
place, right time, and
yeah,
it's who
yeah.
you know. There's a
Who
lot
you
of
know, who you're sleeping
politics.
with.
Yeah, it's politics.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's not an easy business. I love it because it's what I've done for my entire life. but it's tough. It's a tough business, 100%.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine. And I know you were speaking earlier about you've done directing, you've directed some films. Uh how is it directing another person's uh script or the story? Like
Yeah.
are they there kind of feeding you like, hey, this is how I kind of envision it, or do you kind of do your own
Yeah,
vision of it?
I've directed 2 films that I didn't write. Um, One was called Feel So Good, and one was called The Hungover Games.
I saw
Which was
that.
it was a spoof movie that was basically the hangover guys in the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And it was as good as you can imagine it could be. Um, uh, uh, I there's something uh, I have 2 answers to that question.
Mhm.
It's awesome because you're not responsible for coming up with the jokes and the scares and all of those other things. Um, so that's great. Um, but there is a difference, you're not as locked in emotionally to the to the stuff. I've had, I don't know, 20 projects produced in my career, from film and anything from like an episode I wrote of TV to to Saw X that came out a few months ago. And of all of those projects, the things that are the thing that is most personal to me, I made this tiny movie, this itsy bitsy tiny movie. It was called Conception. Nobody saw it. I know nobody saw it because I don't see residuals for it. So I know nobody saw it. But it was everything to me. Like, it was like I wrote it. Every word on the screen is mine. Every beat in the film is mine. Um, um, I mean, it's tiny. It feels small. It feels like a little indie do it yourself movie.
Mhm.
Um, but it's everything to me. And no one will ever, like, no one's ever going to embrace it the same way I do. I mean, like, I get 20 DMs a day about how much they love, my writing on Saw. Um, and then every once in a while I'll get an email from somebody just out of the blue. Like, I remember, like, this movie that I'm talking about called, the Conception.
Mhm.
It was 9 different couples all on the night they conceived their children, and they all have very, very different stories to tell. Um, and one of the couples, in the film, uh, they she was struggling with the fact that that she had already had a kid, and she had stretch marks on her body, and was feeling unsexy because of her body looking different from the time that her husband first married her.
Mhm.
The roles were played by Alan Tudyk, who is amazing. He
Oh
was
yeah.
from Firefly, and like, just he's just Tucker and Dale versus Evil. He's just a great actor. And the wife of my writing partner for Saw and Piranha 3D and Sorority Row, his name is Pete Goldfinger. Her name is Jen Jostin. Great actress, amazing actress. And they have this moment together that's so raw and so real and so lived in, and so it's everything that I love about film. And I, like I was saying before, I'll get 20 emails a day about Saw, and like, oh, I love this line from Saw. I love this kill scene from Saw. Hey, you should do a trap where somebody is peeing into a fucking container and it makes them swallow it. Whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
I get literally 20 of those a day. And I got one email from a woman who had seen Conception, and I know she didn't know who I was, because you don't turn on that movie and think, "Oh, I'm watching this because I love Saw." It was somebody that just happened to see it online somewhere, and they watched the film, and they wrote me this really heartfelt email about how they connected so viscerally to the character and how they had been dealing with stretch marks on their own body and feeling less than because of that, and how this movie made them see themselves in a different way. There was a line in the film, I'm not going to remember the exact same line, but Alan Tudyk, the husband, is trying to console his wife about her stretch marks, and he says something along the lines of that I love those marks. They're like they're roadmaps across your body,
Mm,
um, um, and they make me want to follow these roadmaps. I don't remember the exact line, but it resonated for this one person. And that when that one person wrote to me about this thing, it was it was everything. Like I that email, because it was so specific and so real and so emotional, and it clearly made an impact on this person's life. I mean, that's what filmmaking is about. That's,
mhm.
look, I love getting all of those Saw emails, and please don't stop sending them if you're watching this. I love them all, but every once in a while you'll get one that just, it feels like they see you in a way um that is what filmmaking is all about. It's about connecting with someone on a real level. Doesn't happen often, and I've had those moments in films, like I was just talking about Cameron Crowe,
Mhm.
but yeah, yeah. Sorry, I just went down a rabbit hole.
No,
Sorry about
no,
that,
it's lightning in a bottle when you can get something
dude.
like that, and, yeah, I guess you're right, there's the side of making money to it, but then there's the art that you ultimately hope will resonate with people, and it's
Yeah,
always good to be reminded of that
yeah, yeah.
it's not just for money, it's for art.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I have fights with both my wife and my writing partners and all of these things too, and like that, we'll have conversations like, would you rather your movie really affect people and make change people's lives, um and be well regarded as a film, or would you rather make money? Um and I'm always coming down, like, much to the chagrin of some of my writing partners, like, I would give back some of the money to feel like I am making a real dent in someone's life and making them feel something that they weren't expecting to feel. That to me is filmmaking. That's what it's all about for me.
Yeah, that's where it's an art and not a business.
Yeah. Yeah,
No.
100%.
Yeah, it's
100%.
it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And to flip the question, about you directing other people's writing, how do
Yeah.
you feel about other directors, doing your writings? Like, because I know that's more of, what you go through. Are
Yeah.
you there with them, telling them how you want it? Do they ask for your feedback, or they just take it
Um,
how it
I
is
will
on
tell
the
you it's different for every filmmaker.
Mhm,
It's different for every director. Some directors feel threatened, and feel like you're trying to step in and take their job, that you are not supporting them. Every note you give is a cut on what they want to do. Um, and those are difficult. Those are very, very difficult. And I've had those relationships on set. I've been thrown off of films, um, because the director just didn't give a shit about what I had to say.
mhm,
Um, um, as an example, I wrote a spec script called Passion of the Ark. Um, it was one of the scripts that really kind of um, popped and uh, jump started my career in an amazing way. It was called Passion of the Ark. 7 studio bidding war. So 7 studios bidding on this one script. Was the most money I've ever been paid for a script before. And then the director got mad at us because we didn't sell it to the studio that he wanted us to sell it to, and kicked us off the project. And I
Wow.
lost all credit. And you won't see my name on the movie or on the poster. My manager, I had two managers at the time. Both of the managers are on the poster, because part of the deal was that they become producers on the project when we sold the script. So they're both on the movie, but I was kicked off of the film completely, disinvited, was not invited at all to participate. They told me I could have nothing to do with the rewrite of the script. And when they offered us tickets to the premiere of the movie, the premiere took place at the IMAX theater at Universal Studios, and the tickets that they gave us were not only in the very last row of the theater, but in the balcony in the last row, in the far, 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 far left. Like,
Was there a pole in front
yeah,
of y'all
I'm
too?
sure there was. I didn't go because I was so fucking
Yeah.
angry and upset that
Uh-huh.
they screwed us like that. My writing partner at the time, a guy named Bobby Florsheim, great guy. I've written a whole bunch of projects with him. Love him. He went, and they put us like in the back row, far left, in the biggest theater in Los Angeles. That's how much they hated us on that film.
Wow.
So I've had those experiences. That movie became Evan Almighty. I don't know if you saw that film. It was Steve Carell. It was the sequel to Bruce Almighty. When we wrote the script, it had nothing to do with Bruce Almighty. It was basically a guy who builds an ark in his backyard after talking to God. And it was a comedy, and there were definitely elements from the finished movie, which was Evan Almighty, that made it into the film. But like, that's the worst case scenario. That's like, director hates you, doesn't want anything to do with you, kicks you off the project. You don't get your name on the movie. And I mean, I was able to buy my first house with that project, but that's something else. Like I was saying before, I'd give up the money for the love.
Yeah. The passion.
But then I've had other situations where I have written projects for directors, and we've had amazing relationships. All three Saw movies that I've worked on, every single one had an incredible relationship with the directors. Jigsaw was the Spirit Brothers, was there on set every day. They listened to what I had to say. They cared. They were kind. Darren Bousman, who directed Spiral, who also directed Saw 2, 3, 4, also. Wonderful filmmaker. I just got off the phone with him an hour ago. We're working on another project together. He's beautiful, lovely, wonderful human being. Love him so much. And in the last film, Kevin, who has directed every single Saw movie since the beginning. So he is not directed, edited Saw 1 through 10, and directed this last one, Saw X. He was incredible. Lovely human being, had an incredible relationship with him, felt heard, felt seen. Writers are so taken advantage of and walked over, and no one gives a shit. Producers feel like they're worthless, except for the producers I've worked for. I love all of my producers that I've worked for. Producers walk all over them. It's incredible to find just lovely human beings that are great to work with. Even Good Luck Chuck, one of the first films that has a 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. The director, Mark Helfrich, love the guy. He's amazing. He was so nice to me. He was so inclusive in the process and so wonderful in making the movie. Yeah, so there's different experiences all over the place. I would not recommend working with the director of Evan Almighty, but and look, there's levels all along the board, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah, and even the directors that I love, I've had disagreements with, and And one of the secrets as a screenwriter is finding your place. It's pushing, it's saying your opinion and your grievance, but not pushing so hard that they feel threatened. Because directing is hard. Like as I've said, I've directed a whole bunch of things. It's hard. Everything is landing on you. So part of being a good screenwriter for a director is supporting them, helping them find the vision, their vision, hoping that their vision falls in line with your vision, which isn't always the case. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a chatterbox. Sorry about that.
No, I love it. And I would hope, especially with this writer strike that just happened and previous writer strikes, that people in the industry and just in public would understand how important writers were, because everything kind of shuts down without them, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Like, look, a film starts and ends, not ends. The film starts with the writer. And it starts with a writer looking at a blank page, a totally white page. And the only words that I know going in is fade in, like fade in. Those are the only two words that I'm sure of. Like, I'll start every screenplay and I'll fucking write fade in, colon, and then sit back and be like, that's definitely this is going to be in the final draft of the screenplay. This is it. Fade in. This is fucking key. And then the rest is, it's fine. It's hard. It's hard work. It's hard.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
Yeah. Because
especially,
I mean, like, as a screenwriter, you're having, at the beginning, before your movie gets into production, you're having to please your agent, your manager, your lawyer, the readers. There are, I mean, every time you send, if you send something to Blumhouse, let's say, I'm sending a script to Blumhouse, and Jason Blum isn't reading the script at first. He's not reading shit. He's giving it to first an assistant that's reading the script, and then hopefully they like it and they pass it on to the low level, executive at the company. They're reading it. Hopefully they like it and they pass it on to the executive at the company, and then hopefully they like it, and then they're sending it on to Jason. And you got to get through those. It's what's that TV show with the spinning shit that knocks people off into the water? And
Wipeout.
Yeah, it's Wipeout. Yeah, screenwriting is Wipeout. You're basically trying to get through the myriad of things trying to knock you off and throw you into the mud.
It's a gauntlet.
Yeah, it's a gauntlet. Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
And I was gonna ask too. Well, since we're really, I want to talk to you about Saw, and not even about everything else was great. Good luck, Chuck. I love, of course. Never.
Thank you for lying to me. I really like that. I wish you had written a review on Rotten Tomato, because maybe we'd have a 6% instead of a 5%. But fine, whatever. All right, good.
I was gonna say, can you do a good Tobin Bell impression? I want to play a game.
I'm not even gonna try, because it'll be embarrassing if I do. I will say that I love Tobin Bell. He is one of my heroes. Every Saw movie I've worked on, I've spent many hours with Tobin. And he's one of those one is like when you're making a TV show, let's say, you're writing a TV show. Those actors in like the 8th season of West Wing, you go to Bradley Whitford, he knows that character better than you're ever going to know that character as a writer. Like, he's been doing it for 8 years. They brought you on because they liked something you wrote, and it's worthless because these actors are carrying everything. Tobin is that. Tobin, he is John Kramer. Like, he is John Kramer. I sit in a room with him and I'm in awe. We'll break story with him. We'll talk about character and thematic elements. He's so smart. Um, there are moments that Tobin has come up with ideas for that never made it into the movie that still makes me angry that it didn't make it in the movie. Like there was a bit. Did you see Saw X? Was that the
Yeah.
film that you saw?
Yes, sir. I've seen all of them. I've seen all the Saws.
Okay, good. All right, all right. So Saw
Uh-huh.
X, um, it's about a guy who has cancer
It's
and
like a revenge film. That's the
yeah,
way I saw
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely is. It definitely is.
Yeah.
Somebody basically takes advantage of him
Mhm.
and pretends that they're going to solve his issues with cancer and are
Mhm.
lying in order to make money. Um, but he like one day I was driving into Costco in Van Nuys on Sepulveda. For those of you who live in Los Angeles, Sepulveda and whatever it is, Victory, Van Owen, and I'm pulling into Costco and my phone rings and it's Tobin. And I park and basically I was sitting there in the car for an hour and a half while he's talking to me about ideas that he has about the script. But what's wonderful about Tobin is his ideas are really, really fucking good. So he started talking about this idea and I loved it. I fucking loved it. He was talking about this is all coming from him, and it's not in Saw X.
Mhm.
You'll see it in the DVD if you watch the extra footage because I think we shot it because I wrote it in the script. It was in the script, and then I think the film was already 2 hours long, and they were like, "We can't make it 2.5 hour Saw movie." But he started pitching me this idea for. He was thinking of the word fishing, and phishing obviously is what con artists do. They'll send you
Mhm.
a text message saying, Bank of America is calling and they, someone's trying to access your account. Log in now and then you hopefully log into their fake account and then they steal all your money. So that's phishing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but he started talking about that and phishing, and we had a kill scene already written into the movie with basically a fishing line. It was a um
It's
jiggly saw. It
like
was
a
like
piano wire
yeah,
almost
yeah,
type.
yeah. The
Yeah.
piano wire around her head, and
Yeah,
also
yeah.
the jiggly saw that she sawed her legs off with.
Mhm.
And it was a wide, it was a it was a thin piece of line. And he
Mhm.
started talking about how fishing and how fishing was as a kid, his father used to take him fishing, and there's a different bait for bass. So, some fish like worms, some fish like lures, some fish like shrimp, like different things, and how you as a con artist were fishing and using bait in order to hook me, in order to bring me in, and that hook was life. It was a longer life, and it was all him. He Tobin Tobin is one of my heroes. I love that man to death. He's incredible, and he brought this to the table, like in a way that you don't like, dude. When you're making a movie with, and I'm not going to call any actor out, but I'm just going to say like some big famous actor that's in a movie that he doesn't even really care about. They're not
Mhm.
thinking about this shit. And Tobin is sitting there in his bedroom in Santa Monica thinking like what would John Kramer say? And having a partner like that, having a partner that's coming at things and as a teammate, um he's a team player. He's incredible. That entire Saw family, everyone that I worked with, from the directors, the Spirit brothers, Darren Bousman, Kevin, all incredible. The producers, the executive, they're all working to make a great film. Um, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I haven't liked all the Saw movies. I've liked a lot of them, but yeah, there have been some some bad ones. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna pretend that there haven't.
Mhm.
But even the bad ones, um, everyone just cares. They care. And when I say bad ones, I'm sure everyone on fucking Reddit right now is like, "Yeah, yours are bad, motherfucker." Spiral, fuck you, dude. I can't. I mean, like literally, I get so many fucking hate emails about all that bullshit. But
I don't get that. Well, Spiral I thought was good. Yeah, it was a whole different take on it, but I thought it was more. I don't know. Like you could look at these three films that you and your partner wrote,
yeah,
and they're their own like different types. Like you have 10 that's like the revenge film. Jigsaw's like callback to the original
yeah,
Saws,
yeah, yeah,
before
yeah,
arguably 3, 4, and 5,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
the what was the other one? The Book of Spiral.
Spiral is a complete like a reimagining
Yeah,
of everything. Um,
it's like a
I
detective
thank you.
story.
I thank you for saying that. I would I would ask you to go to Reddit and fight all of the people that say that I've ruined the Saw franchise. Um, but uh, but yeah, I mean, it's um, when I set out to make a movie, I love remakes like Sorority Row and Piranha, um, reimaginings
Mhm.
like the Saw movies that I've worked on. Um, I'm always trying to come at it and thinking a lot of times the fans want what they know. Like they just want a remake of what they've seen in a slightly different packaging. And I approach things differently. And for good or bad, I approach things from a standpoint of I want to offer something unique and different for the audience. Um, when
Yeah,
we did Piranha, I mean, could have just remade Piranha. There's a government program that's trying to create piranhas that fight enemies and they accidentally escape from the lab. Like that was like Piranha or Piranha 2 or whatever.
well, you could do like Psycho, like a shot for shot remake of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like what does that do?
Yeah,
I come at things and say, "All right, I'm making Piranha. What's a different version? Like
the
what's something that
perspective.
I haven't seen?" Like
Like,
and when Pete
yeah.
and I stumbled upon like Spring Break, piranhas in the water at Lake Havasu. It's funny. I'll tell you a slight story out of school. Um, I came up with the idea, and I'm gonna take credit for this. Pete, fuck you. He's my writing partner, Pete. Pete, fuck you. I came up with the idea for Piranha 3D. Um, but I was watching the Pamela Anderson sex tape, and
Okay.
Tommy Lee and she had a boat on Lake Havasu. They had gone on vacation. They brought their home video camera to Lake Havasu. Yeah, I watched it to watch Tommy Lee's gigantic penis, but I also like there were other moments of this, and there was one moment I had
The
honestly I haven't
cinematography on
seen
it.
that video. I haven't seen that video in 25 years, so I don't know for sure exactly how it was, but there was a scene where there were people jumping off a cliff in Lake Havasu. They were like standing on a rock ledge and jumping into the water.
Mhm.
And when I started thinking about Piranha 3D and Spring Break at Lake Havasu, I was like, oh shit, how cool would it be if the people were on the rock face and they were stuck there and they were looking down and people were getting eaten by piranha down below and like you're hanging on, white knuckling it onto this fucking cliff face and people are getting fucking killed down below. And it was like the first scene that I thought of. And then also on that video, I think, I'm not positive, that was definitely on it. I will stand by that till the end of time.
Yeah.
Watch the Pamela Anderson sex tape and you'll see that. But I also think there was also somebody on a what's it called? When you're getting pulled by a boat on a parasail,
Yeah. Yeah.
parasail,
Okay.
parasail.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if the parasail kept dipping into the water and then coming up and dipping into the water and then coming up. And then when it dips in the water, the fucking piranhas go crazy on the person. And when it comes up, it's just like a spine. Um, so like that was like the starting point. So going back to what you were saying before, I mean, like I'm always approaching things like what's different about this? How can I
Mhm.
approach this in a different way? Pete and I are thinking about doing another Sorority Row movie right now. And it's been what, 15 years or something? 15 years. And it hasn't, I love that movie. Like I honestly, that's one of my favorite movies I've made, even despite the fact that um it didn't do incredibly well at the box office, but it makes me happy. So fuck everybody. Um, but the um didn't realize I wanted to make it until I thought of like, oh, this hook into this new Sorority Row is, I've got a hook that Pete and I came up with that is so good that all of a sudden that's all I'm thinking about right now. It's the reason why I'm not doing Saw. Like I just like I wanna I'm backing out of Saw right now to work on a couple of other projects that are just really, really exciting me.
No, and that's always good to have,
Yeah.
especially like with your long career, still have that excitement in you and not just write for profit or whatever, even
What are
though
you
I'm
saying
sure
about long career? Are you talking that I'm old?
an esteemed career,
All right, whatever, dude.
sir.
Whatever.
I know I don't want to keep you too long. Is great talking to you. How how is it like writing with a partner instead of like just writing by yourself? Is there hiccups there? Is there like
um, it's amazing. It's amazing. I have a few different partners that I've worked with. Um, and every relationship I have with a partner is different. Some are more rocky than others. Some are really, really easy. Um, but what's amazing is that if you can find a partner, like as a screenwriter, for screenwriters out there that are listening, find a partner that complements you, not from a standpoint of being good at what you're good at, but being good at something that you're not good at. I see myself, like, I think my strengths as a screenwriter, kill scenes. I fucking love coming up with kill scenes. I'll come up with kill scenes until the day ends. Like, I love it. Dialogue, I love dialogue. I will write a scene where somebody's coming into the house and hanging their hat, and I can write a scene that's 12 pages long on just that one moment, because I feel like I'll toot my own horn. I feel like I'm pretty good at dialogue. Um, my writing partners that I have are good at other things. I've got, Pete, who cares so much about um, um, logic and plot and twists and turns. And he's so fucking good at that kind of stuff. Um, um, I've got partners. There's this guy named Mike Lee that I'm working with right now that I absolutely love. Great horror writer. Um, and he is incredible at coming up with really unique takes on ideas in a way that, like, I would never have thought of before. Um, so it's really, really important to find that partner that doesn't do what you do, does things better than you do in areas that you don't care about as much. Not that I don't care about plot and theme and all those other things, but I'm pretty good at kill scenes. I'm pretty good at dialogue. I'm pretty good at some other things, but I love to embrace myself with people that are really, really, really good at stuff that I falter on, I think.
Yeah, and that's a good advice. I feel like in anything, profession or
Yeah.
relationship wise, to have partners
Marriage,
that,
right?
yeah, to cover
Marriage.
your weight, strengths and weaknesses, the balances of it.
Hell yeah. I do
Yeah.
everything in my marriage with my kids. I deal with all of the paperwork and I'm lying right now. I'm just hoping my wife watches this and she's like, "Fuck you, dude. You don't do anything with that stuff." Um, I do dishes really well.
Mhm.
I I
That's
I
what's
can
right.
fold some laundry like a fucking fiend. I'm really good at
Jeez.
that. Um, um, yeah, I don't know.
No, well, and again, I thank you so much for your time. A
This
few
was
more
fun,
things.
man. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I'm glad that we finally got a chance to talk.
No, one final thing I was gonna ask you, and I didn't
Please.
really get into Saul, but one last thing. What would be your dream project or franchise?
Oh,
I know you have a lot of projects you said that you're like all excited for, but
yeah.
like is you I don't know if you just fell into Saw or you were writing for Saw. Was there a franchise like a horror
Yeah.
or even just
Um,
anything that you would
that's
really love to do?
that's all right. That's a great question. All right. I've got a long answer, unfortunately.
No,
Um,
I love it. I'm sorry to
so
keep you again.
Saw, I watch Pete and I, my writing partner on Saw 8, 9, and 10. Um, we saw opening night in Westwood at the midnight show. We stood in line at the midnight show in Westwood and watched Saw, and our jaws fell to the floor when Tobin Bell stood up at the end,
Mhm.
and it changed everything for
I'm getting
me.
chills too thinking about it.
Oh
I
my
think I
god, yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it's insane. So
Mhm,
so that has been an incredible ride, and I feel so lucky to have been a part of it. The two producers on the project, Mark Berg and Oren Kulis, they've been family to us and have been so amazing through the entire journey. I love, love, love that franchise. Um, um, there are definitely projects that there's a few different films that I've been wanting, like me as a guy who loves remakes. There's a movie called The Entity that I've been dying to remake. The rights are fucked. The rights are just like tied up in a zillion different things. But
mhm,
it's this movie from the 1980s, early 80s, I think. Um, uh, True story about this woman that was basically possessed by possessed most horror, like haunted house movies, it's the house that's haunted. You walk into the house and you're haunted by the house, and you can fucking leave and go someplace else and you're fine.
yeah,
The Entity is about a
yeah,
human being possessed, and it's different. It's not the devil in the same way that The Exorcist is, and it's a real story. So I've been dying to do that. I've been every 6 months I write to somebody at fucking, I think it's at Paramount right now. I'm like, hey, I want this, and they're always like, yeah, it's too fucking
it's
tied
not
up.
worth
And
it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So there's that movie that I've been dying to make. Um, um, I am obsessed with the movie Ginger Snaps that's at Lionsgate. Been talking. Dude, I had a meeting last week with one of the main executives at Lionsgate. And I'm like, Ginger Snaps, Ginger Snaps, Ginger Snaps. I want to do Ginger Snaps. Um, have you seen Ginger Snaps yet, dude?
Mhm, no, I've never seen Ginger Snaps.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. The acting is so good. It's amazing. So there's that. Um, there are a couple of projects that I've written in the past that are dream projects of mine. There's a book called The Last Samurai, not the Tom Cruise movie. It's a book by a woman named Helen DeWitt. I wrote a screenplay of the project that was it won a whole bunch of awards, like it was on the hit lists. Um,
Mhm,
been dying to do it. Tiny, tiny relationship film about a mom and her daughter and her son that I love. So that's something that I would love to do. Um, so there's a whole bunch of like projects that I'm obsessed with. Can't wait to do another Sorority Row movie. Um, but uh, but yeah, I'm hoping that I've got a couple more years of fighting in me for for writing. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the last time you're going to see me, man. Maybe I'm going to disappear. You're going to be like, "Holy shit! I had Josh Stolberg's final interview." Um, you're going to be able to post that and make a lot of money. I hope you do.
You could be like John Kramer and just have you could live on another 8 movies
I
past
like
the
that.
first 2
I
that
like that. That's
you
good.
could pass away and still keep going.
That's good. I
Uh
like that. I like
no,
that.
but thank you so much for your time, Josh Stolberg. I know I got your link tree there, or you have your website www.joshstolberg.com. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to say,
Um,
part
no,
part ways with.
no, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me. Um, yeah, I am in the process of I'm gonna make my own little tiny movie in my own house starting in February. And we'll be looking for people to help out. So if you're interested in helping out, whether it's in a financial way or a creative way, whether you want to be a crew member or an actor, um, please reach out to me on my website because I'll be looking for people to play with on that film.
That's exciting to be a part of that. That'd be great. I hope everyone reaches out to you, and all I'd like you to do is just say game over, and I think we'll be good.
Dude, game over. I'm gonna slide the
Doo-doo-doo,
door closed.
doo-doo-doo, 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 doo-doo-doo.
I
Thank you
love
so
it.
much, man. Take
All right,
care.
brother. Take care. Have a good one.